I don't understand the bad business branding, because if y'all entered into business together and the business was bad, say your own name when you're talking about bad business.
That's why we called it a pivot, and that's why it wasn't a mistake. RC, was it a mistake to pivot? You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like it was overnight. Like we saw what was going on, and we said we had to move in a different direction.
Right. That's the part I don't understand the logical disconnect, or how you disconnect yourself logically from how that situation failed. I don't understand how you separate yourself from it in terms of your part that you played. And so, I mean, congratulations on the fact that it seems like that won't happen moving forward. And I guess for whatever you have to tell yourself, you have to tell yourself that Brandon was a boogeyman. And so now if that's what you need to do to make sure that for the rest of your life that you are active participant and the active controlling agent in your own business dealings, fine, whatever. but I just, making him the villain, I don't understand the part of how you absolve yourself from your part that you played in that scenario. When you don't have the business done up front, everybody you have mentioned in previous, Fred mentioned it in previous situations that it's not done like the way it should be done. And then you just dragging Brandon's name, drag your own name as well. If you want to say Brandon bad business, say bad business Channing, bad business Fred, because the business, y'all were in the same business together. And as far as I can tell, nobody's alleging anything illegal. So you all did bad business together. Own it. I don't understand what's so hard about owning your stuff. Like, own it. And because the reason I say it, because you'll be better for it. You've clearly learned from it. You've clearly learned from what you have done that did not benefit you. So why not take that lesson to heart and take your ownership of what happened, instead of making Brandon the 100% boogeyman and always throwing him out there as if some kind of way he was just purposefully mistreating y'all. And again, if y'all have some information that is, like really evidencing Brandon's like some character flaws or whatever, I mean, I want to say put it out there responsibly. Say what it is, so factual, so we understand, like, what you all went through. Because right now, I don't see it. I just see you all trying to find somebody else to be responsible for the negative things that you all, like, for the shortcomings that you all had business-wise. And you all have corrected for those things moving forward, but still somehow don't see the personal responsibility in it. So I'm baffled by that. But anyway, I'm sorry. And then I want to just skip past that. I want to go to listening to Channing talk about the business of things that with the pivot versus the business with I Am Athlete. Pay attention. Like, go back and look at my previous video I did on this and listen to Channing talk about the business aspect. Listen to what how Brandon talks about the business aspect of I Am Athlete. Then listen to how Channing and Fred talk about the business of I Am Athlete. Just bewildered, don't have a clue, right? Then listen to now on the Breakfast Club. Listen to Channing discuss the business of the pivot. Now, look at this.
Really? It's so important to take care of the business too, aspect of it. So when you guys did the Pivot podcast, what agreement did you come to with each other to make sure that it was fair for everybody?
Oh, well, we learned from the other situation where you just jump out with your homeboys. Hey, we tight, we played together, we know each other, man, let's do this. And then it blows up, and then checks start coming, and now you panicking on the back end. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, what percentage is mine? What percentage is yours? Mm-hmm. So before we even shot an episode, we set up our business, set up our LLC, our big one. We connected all three of our businesses to it. We brought in our producer and our attorney, so everybody got it's not equal percentage. We're the main three owners. We own Well, it's 80% of it. And then, so that's already set up before a dime came in. So we were fronting money. All of us were paying for our own stuff to start it.
Well,
to
look
get
at
it going,
that.
the travel, the production, everything with our producer. And we were paying for it ourselves and said, okay, we're going to bet on ourselves to come in. But we left the other spot. Me and Freddie were like, we got to do a podcast. But then we just saw, man, it's the young kids that come up to you. From the 14-year-old that come and be like, hey, man, that Beasley stuff was crazy, to the 60-year-old that comes up to you. So we're really affecting the culture. So that's when me and Freddie were like, but we got to keep this going somehow to really just speak to the people. And we wanted to bring in a third, and the list was short. It was Ryan Clark. We knew the dude. He's talented.
Very
he was
good.
that good guy. So that's what we brought in. But, yeah, we didn't have to do it. We didn't want to just want to do it, but we had to because we thought we were affected.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah. So if you listen to how he said, okay, we learned from that previous situation. We had our business on the front end. We had our attorneys. We had our parent corporation, our subsidiaries, our LLCs, all that kind of stuff connected. We didn't understand the percentage breakdowns or whatever before we filmed anything. You hear me? Anything. Before we did a Instagram live, TikTok, nothing. We had our paperwork straight. That's the right thing. To honor the relationship that you all have together. That's the right thing. And that's what you all learned from the unfortunate situation with IAA. But don't act like the same thing couldn't happen with Ryan, you, Fred, Ryan, Channing, Fred, whoever the hell else come along. The same thing can happen when you do bad business. Right? So Brandon ain't got to be the devil. You just got to be better at doing business, right? It'd be different if y'all had this whole thing set up. Y'all had contracts and everything. Brandon just doing stuff. Just, you got to take him to court because he just doing stuff illegal, whatever, breaking the contract. That's not the situation. From my understanding, from what we've seen so far, that is not the situation. So all this Brandon is evil is getting on. It's just like, where is it going towards? How does that help anything? And are you trying to tear the brand down that he's building or whatever? Are you unhappy with the fact that he's, continuing on? Like, what is it? Because it's starting to get strange, y'all. Okay, let me see. What else I want to talk about in this thing? I'm about done with y'all. Let me see. Hold on. I mean, not as people, but with this episode. Hold on. Oh yeah, so let me get to the part where, let me get to 623 when they start talking about the dealings with Brandon and what they want to do, when it comes to making amends or not, and the percentages, right? Because they kind of break down some of the percentage information too that Channing was wanting or that Fred was wanting versus what he was offered.
Where you kind of address everything. Have you guys made amends with your prior situation, or do you think there'll ever be a time that you guys all talk and do something and address it? Because
I'll never say never. You know what I'm saying? Life moves on and different things happen. And as we say here today, I don't believe so. I just think there was so much disrespect with the other situation. Not even business wise, just as a man. The way people were talked to, the way people were approached. That I know I felt disrespected, and I speak for Freddie. I know Freddie felt disrespected. RC wasn't a part of it. He kind of came in on the back end, but just the disrespect and the approach to me as a grown ass man, I don't think I could really go back to that situation and look at that individual the same way.
Yeah, no,
it's crazy. It all worked out for the best.
He said, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
What was it though? Because it couldn't have been money. Because I'm
Yes,
sure
what
there was a lot
was
of
it?
money rolling in at the time.
I mean, it wasn't the money, but again, this is a long game situation. The residual effects of this. The content ain't going nowhere.
I love it when you try to fight saying what the hell you really want to say.
Nah, I'm telling you, because it wasn't about the money. It's about the structure, right?
The
So
structure.
when we all came into it, it was this, and then it evolved into something else that was going to put said individual to the front, and he was going to capitalize. So
Okay.
it was a podcast. Then
What is
eventually
$11 million he
became,
put in?
oh, this is going to be a media arm for my stuff, my gym, etc.
Got you.
That wasn't a situation. Whether you say this was my vision, that wasn't a vision we all talked about, right? So we all came to the table. Personally, I'm not speaking for Chan. I said my sweat equity, don't pay me. I don't want no talent fee. I want my sweat equity to travel. As the company grow, my sweat gonna grow. So at the end of the day, when it's time to identify what that looked like, it wasn't 5%.
Word.
You feel me?
So you offer what,
If my
5%?
sweat is 50K and you put in 100K, to me that looked like a third of the situation.
Absolutely.
So I was like, nah. You know, I'm fighting my words. I said, I was about to say F this, but so that was it for me. So my decision was easy. I just sat tight for a little bit because there was some other things that I was shooting for. You know, we talk about Hall of Fame and all of this stuff. So different messages was able to come out. So I just sat back and said, I'm gonna take advantage for now. But on the other side, I'm paying attention, you know, and I'll make a move when it's time to make a move.
I love so many of y'all episodes, man. You know, Channing, people got mad at you when you called Russell Wilson a square. Do you take that?
Even if you express ownership in the beginning, when were you going to express the part? Like, let me take a step back. Here's the one thing I would have an issue with if I'm just thinking about what Fred is saying, right? If Fred is saying from the beginning, we discussed that I wasn't putting any money in, but whatever I was going to be doing was going to equal the value of whatever money you were putting in. We were going to make sure that was the case. Then that's incumbent on everybody to make sure that whatever Fred is doing sweat equity wise, whatever Channing is doing sweat equity wise, because Channing really don't ever mention the sweat equity term, so I don't really know what his part is with that. But if everybody's doing that, it's up to everybody to say, if we all agree we're going to like do equal percentages or whatever, then, and my sweat equity is this or that, then I should be at about 26, 27% or whatever like that. Okay, well, first of all, you don't even know what if you had an agreement beforehand what your sweat equity was going to be and what it was going to equal to with ownership, you should know the percentage before you get to the end talking about it should be about 26, 27. How you know that? There ain't no agreement on that, because if I'm talking about what my sweat equity is supposed to garner me, then I'm gonna know what my percentage is from the beginning. I ain't heard Fred say from the very beginning I was supposed to be getting 20%. I was supposed to be getting 25%. I was supposed to be getting 32% from the very beginning, and all my sweat equity is supposed to do. I ain't said that. He waffling back and forth on what even the percentage numbers that he would expect are. I would be about 26, about 27. You don't even know. So it was no agreement on that. It couldn't have been, because you don't even know what the exact percentage is supposed to be. So, dude. So, okay, just to wrap it up, I will say that now listening to a little bit of what Brandon has said about his initial investment and it being broader than just I Am Athlete from what he said. I'm not sure exactly all of what that means, but I extrapolate that's House of Athlete, employees for gyms and other stuff that's not necessarily specifically just to the I Am Athlete brand itself. Hopefully I'm not wrong on that, but he didn't really provide too much clarity on that. He just said it's not just I Am Athlete, which would be all extensions, all personnel tied to I Am Athlete. Anyway, so I do believe that Channing and Fred should have been allowed to buy into the podcast itself separately than it being connected to everything else, you know, with House of Athlete and all of that, right? However, when it comes to being able to make that a reality, I do think, again, the paperwork has to be done. Your role has to be known. Your piece of the pie, your equity should be known from the jump, and it should be something that's on paper so that none of this can get misconstrued, so that nobody can feel slighted or taken advantage of, and so that, you know, you preserve the personal relationship as well as the business relationship, right? Because the thing that's not being talked about as well is that all of these folks have consumers that, you know, that are consuming a product that expect for things to be done the right way too, so that they can be served. So you got to do all that stuff in addition to not just for you and your business, for your customers. And they're the ones who keep you going, right? So there's that. Aside from that though, I don't really like how this thing keeps shifting from January of this year, like, oh yeah, that's my boy or whatever, we cool, I'm not really down with the way things are going or whatever, so I'm going my separate way, till a month later, bad business, Brandon, he don't value people, he don't care about people, whatever, because I'm trying to figure out what the progression is there and why the story keep change? Like, why does the narrative keep devolving into something worse and worse the longer time goes by and the less involved you all are together? I mean, it's just kind of like, give credence to give the proper respect to your current business by leaving whatever was in the past in the past. Let that be what it was. It's over. You said you want to be paid for your talent. Retroactively, do your name, image, likeness, paperwork, and all that kind of stuff. Cut ties, disassociate from the brand, and move the hell on. I mean, really, what's left? What is left? Unless we want to talk about mending the personal relationship. If you said the door is closed on that, I feel like maybe I should leave it open a little bit. But if you say the door is closed on that, then okay, it's closed. Now, can we talk about your business and only what you're doing? Because you all's association is over. Like, so I don't know, man. I just think, again, very happy that the business for the pivot now is on point. None of them should ever feel like, again, that they put themselves in a position that they can be taken advantage of, or that they can be on the short end of the stick when it comes to them doing business, making money, and feeding their families and all of that good stuff. Like, always now, if nothing else comes out of it, just take the note and be glad that it was not as expensive as it could be to learn for once and for all to do your business on the front end. Make sure your business is solid. That's it. And preserve all the rest of your relationships, because the one with Brandon, that don't look like that was gonna go too well. Brandon don't look too concerned. But anyway, I really hope one day y'all come back together, really, and just look at it and just be like, yo, we all made some bad decisions right here. We probably shouldn't do business together no more, but like, yo, let's just work on as men. Like you said, it's like it's a man thing, like, let's figure out where that broke down and rebuild. Y'all were in sports. I mean, it was a lot of stuff that transpired in sports where, you had to get over things quickly. I don't know how now it's just so much, lingering bad blood. Like, y'all, get over it, y'all. Like, you all not get over it. That's a little dismissive, but resolve it or leave it alone. Either heal together or heal separately, but heal, please move on, please. All right, y'all, I'm done with this one. I'm done now. Look, I'm done. Please, y'all, just get over it. Let each other live, let each other be, and just do better business and move on, please. Okay, look, I'm done. This is your host, E. Rains. Another episode of OPM and Beyond. Thanks so much for joining us. Holla at you on the next one. Peace.
I can never doubt myself, I know better. All of you critics be acting like you know better. Blowing the smoke, but I know when the dust settles that I'm in my element. It's evident that there's levels to the game. All of those dark nights I got then, breaking my back to make it out, got me feeling like rain. I ain't never need your help, I know you wishing me well. A penny for your thoughts, but seeing no change. I snap for the sun like Diddy. The riches got a mad ass son, I'm like Billy. I ain't never switch up, whole team with me. Putting on for my city like OAG.